Okay, so this is me being completely honest. Even now, after all this time, I don't really know how the job success score system on Upwork fully works. They don't really tell us how they calculate it, but this is what they do say. So they say your JSS reflects your overall contract history with your clients on Upwork and is based on your or your agency's relationship and feedback. It takes into consideration several different factors, including public and private feedback, contract history, dispute history, and long-term customer relationships. But they don't tell us exactly how they calculate it, like what percentage goes into this, what percentage goes into that, and how they come up with the numbers. So it's kind of hard to fully understand. So my current JSS is at 86%. 2 weeks ago, it was at 83%. 2 months ago, it was at 91%. And 3 months ago, it was at 79%. So my score has literally been like all over the place. And I'd like to think that I've learned a couple things. So before I get into how you can increase your score, I'd just like to let you know a couple things that might help you out. Because for me, when I was starting out, I didn't know these things. So first, your JSS automatically updates every 2 weeks. So for me, it's every other Sunday. So if you get some feedback and you notice that your score isn't updating or changing right away, it's because it hasn't been that 2 weeks. And two, it turns out there actually is a way to kind of make your feedback and bad reviews disappear. If you're a top-rated freelancer, you can actually request that Upwork removes one of your feedback or reviews. And you can do this once every 3 months, but this is only applicable for people as who have that top-rated freelancer badge. But even if you don't, like if you look here, it says we calculate JSS every 2 weeks based on your 3, 6, 12, and 24-month history in the marketplace, and calculate a score for each time frame. The best score out of these will display on your profile. So Upwork is saying that they calculate the best score that you have within that certain time frame that you're in to calculate your JSS. So let's say you've been on Upwork for 6 months. Upwork will calculate your JSS score within that 6 month window. But let's say you have a contract that's 6 months and 1 day old, so it's past that 6 month window. That contract will no longer count in your JSS score for that 6 month time frame. It's a bit complicated, I know. To be honest, I don't really like to think too much on it. It's just for me, when I was first starting out, I had a JSS and like I didn't get any new clients or I didn't have any new contracts or feedback or reviews, but the score changed. So I got a bit confused. But it turns out it was just like one of my old contracts just getting cycled out. Okay, so I found out the 4 reasons why your JSS percentage changes is because 1, you receive some sort of public feedback, whether it be positive or negative. 2, you receive some sort of private feedback, which can also be, positive or negative. 3, a higher value job is added to your portfolio and it outweighs a lower value job. So for example, a $1,000 project that you've been working on with a client for say 3 months will have a bigger impact on your job success score than a $20 project that you've been working on with the client for 3 days. And 4, like I just mentioned, like an old contract just got cycled out. Okay, so what are the ways that I've learned to increase your job success score? Okay, so one thing I learned is to always ask for feedback from clients. And I'm not even just talking about contracts that ended or projects that were completed. I'm talking about even on like just contracts that you have open, but they've been inactive for, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks. You can just send a message to a client and say, hey, this contract or our project has been inactive for 2 to 3 weeks. I was just wondering if you could end the contract and leave me some feedback. It would greatly help out my profile. And just send them a quick message, just asking for a review. And also just let the client know that if they do want to like restart work or if they still have more work for you to do, just let them know that they can always just create a new contract and you guys can start over there. Now, obviously, only do this if you have a contract that's sort of been inactive for a while. And again, only do this if you know that the client is going to leave you some positive feedback. Don't do this for contracts where you're constantly or communicating daily and getting work done daily for the client, obviously. And don't bother the client. You ask them once and that's it. If they do it, cool. If they don't do it, if they don't respond, or if they say they just want to keep the contract open for whatever reason, cool. move on. And the next thing is to just grind, like keep working, keep looking for work. Don't let a low job success score slow you down from making any progress. If anything, it should motivate you to work even harder to get that thing back up. Like ask yourself why you got that bad feedback or what made your JSS score drop. And if you were to be given a second chance, what would you have done differently? And like ask yourself these questions. And honestly, I found that now it's a lot easier to keep a good job success score than it was back then. I know it sucks having a low job success score and you think that like it's the end of the world. It's not. The actual best way to increase your job success score is to just keep at it, because everybody goes through it. Everybody has issues where they get bad reviews, unfair reviews, whatever. But everybody else is going to look at their job low score and quit because they say, oh, it's too hard now, or this was unfair now, this was unjust, and they're going to quit. But if you just look at your job success score and you say, okay, let me work even harder than I've ever worked before to get this back up. Let me look at why this happened and let me find out a way to make sure this never happens again. And then you actually do it, you're going to make it and they're not. So understand that JSS isn't everything. It's important, sure, but it won't kill you. It's not going to make or break your career on Upwork just because you got an unfair review. Again, it'll make things harder and it is beneficial to have a higher, job success score, but you can always recover from it. You can always increase your score. Believe it or not, like I actually signed my first, or not my first, my one of my highest paying clients was from when I had my lowest job success score, which was at 79%. Also, like I've been on both sides as well, to where, I'm not just a freelancer, but I'm also a client on Upwork. And I've hired freelancers who've had job success scores of like 50%, 60%, simply because, their cover letter, their proposal was good and their work was, really good quality. So always move forward, keep your focus on what you can do, and you'll be good.